Hey guys, welcome back to another Modern Warfare 2 video. In today's video, we got some huge details on multiplayer, campaign, and even Warzone and more. So here we go. This is all coming from Ralph on Twitter. Let's just dive into this. He says, Infinity Ward's rumored 2022 title Modern Warfare 2, multiplayer details, campaign, weapons, skill-based matchmaking, Warzone 2022, and more. First off, he talks about campaign. New facets of companion interactivity. You'll be able to request and assist room clearances during CQB operations. These new mechanics are put on a show in a campaign mission. Details to follow. The first mission of the campaign, so spoiler alert, if you don't want any of this spoiled, you don't want to know anything about the campaign, then go ahead and skip this video, because we have the first couple missions in here that are detailed. So he says the very first mission, Task Force 141 and several other members of the domestic military have been tasked with infiltrating what's assumed to be a safe house cell holding information on a drug lord of an international crime syndicate based in Ciudad Juarez, dismantling the upper echelon of the organization. You're allowed the option of deciding whether to go in guns blazing, which is ramming down the gate, or covertly. Throughout the raid, choices you make will determine who on your team will die. Ooh, that's kind of crazy, dude. It kind of sounds like some of those stuff from like Black Ops 2. You could actually like make a choice in Black Ops 2's campaign. Do you like try this method, and do you save this person but let this person die, or do you save this other person but then let that person die, or whatever. He says mission 2, Task Force 141's vehicles are ambushed by heavy fire from an unknown position. The character you're playing as is shouting out for his teammate to hand him a weapon. During the struggle, he is then shot. He is heard gurgling on his own blood and moaning. It says you're tasked with grabbing his weapon before diving back behind the cover of the armored patrol vehicle, a new feature, he says, and fending off approaching combatants. Dude, this sounds crazy. As previously mentioned, your character is visibly scared stiff, trembling during ADS, panting and swallowing, which triggers a sequence where the weapon jams. Fast forward, domestic military police show up, though due to the frenzy, they have their weapons tracked on you and your team. TF-141 members are heard whispering, believing they are the cartel disguised as the domestic military. You decide whether or not you shoot them or not. That's freaking crazy, dude. This whole campaign sounds like absolutely insane. Now he talks about some of the voice actors. So he says Barry Sloan returns as Captain Price. He was, of course, voicing Captain Price as Captain Price in Modern Warfare 2019. He says Ghost returns, General Shepard returns, Soap returns, and Roach returns. So we pretty much already knew, Captain Price, probably Ghost, and Soap were going to be in it because, Soap was introduced within Warzone. But General Shepard and Roach, ooh, that's pretty cool. Those are some like classic Modern Warfare 2 characters, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's like is Modern Warfare 2, is this really going to be a whole reboot of the game, or what? I don't know. I mean, because a lot of people said Modern Warfare 2019 could still be a prequel to like Call of Duty 4 and such, but I mean, if like General Shepard and Roach, I don't know. It's a whole thing, and we'll dive into that in another video. But next up, he talks about multiplayer. He says multiplayer. There's an extraction type mode, which supposedly we're talking probably more so about DMZ is what I'm assuming that is. That's what everybody talks about, like extraction is DMZ. So, I mean, keep in mind these tweets, all this leaks, these are actually from back in November, so a little while ago, but I'm sure most of the stuff still probably holds up. He says there's a ricochet perk, grants special ammunition that ricochets off of surfaces. What? Is special ammunition that ricochets off of surfaces, so you can like bounce bullets around corners. That's freaking crazy. Guaranteed that's gonna be banned in the CDL. There's a bounty hunter perk. Field upgrades will return. Operators are returning. There's a floor is lava game mode. That actually sounds so much fun. It sounds like a lot of those, like Infinity Ward kind of has a lot of fun modes. They had a lot of really good ones in Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare was kind of surprising by the amount of fun modes. I swear they had like a weekly rotation of like really fun modes in that game, which was pretty cool. They have Uplink as well as a hostage mode, close quarters combat style. That's pretty cool. Hostage mode. Ooh, that sounds really interesting. But uplink mode, like what? Uplink? So if you guys don't know what uplink is basically capture the flag, but from the advanced movement era. So uplink is, and it's also similar to, I guess, kind of similar to Blitz, but uplink is, that mode we had in Black Ops 3, and I'm pretty sure, we had it in Advanced Warfare, didn't we? I'm pretty sure Advanced Warfare introduced it, but I know we also had it in Infinite Warfare. but you know, it spawns in a ball, and you literally just have to take it to the enemy's goal. It's kind of like Rocket League, where you just pick it up, and you can either throw it into the enemy's goal, or you can like go in and basically do a slam dunk with it. But yeah, I'm like Uplink, but that was an advanced movement mode. So how does Uplink work in a boots on the ground mode? Isn't that just capture the flag, or essentially what Uplink would be? Would be one flag CTF, where there's just a single flag in the middle of the map. And I guess instead of just taking it to like your own goal, you just pick up the flag and you take it to the enemy's goal. Essentially what Uplink is. But how do you know? Like I said, how do you do Uplink in like, you know, in a boots on the ground game? Where, I mean, that was the whole kind of point though of the advanced movement, is you could do cool plays and, you know, like you juke out the enemies or whatever, and then fly into the goal with it. Because the goals were, you know, they're not on the ground, they're high up in the air. So if you wanted to dunk into it, you had to jump, like double jump into the air to dunk it. Or you know, you could do crazy things. There's a lot of different spots on like Black Ops 3 maps where you could go through, and you know, you could find the specific spot on the map where if you like jump at a certain place and throw the ball just right, you could literally like lob the ball from like halfway across the map and just land it right in the goal. So it's like, I don't know how Uplink is gonna work in this game, like I said, just because boots on the ground. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Now he talks about returning maps. He says returning maps we have here. We have Favela, Terminal, High-Rise, Shipment, and Quarry. Now, Terminal, he actually talked about this in another tweet. So Terminal is supposed to actually be a DLC map introduced in one of the seasons, so I wouldn't expect Terminal to be in the game, you know, at day one as a launch map. But some of these other ones I could definitely see. Favela, I mean, it sounds like a lot of Warzone 2's like Battle Royale map is going to be, you know, kind of centered around Favela, and it's going to be kind of like that. So it'd be kind of cool. I feel like Favela would be a great launch map. It was a really great map in MW2, but we'll see what they do to it. High Rise, that was also a really great map as well. Shipment, now as long as they do Shipment right, because when they had Shipment in Modern Warfare 2019, I did not like Shipment in Modern Warfare 2019. I gotta be honest. It's fun, it's alright, but it's not Shipment. I don't know why they decided to change up the whole map, and then they decided to do it again in Vanguard. So we've had like a bunch of different iterations of Shipment, whereas the best ones are from, of course, the original COD 4. We also had it in Ghosts. That one was a little weird because they expanded the map in Ghosts. And then we had it again in Modern Warfare Remastered. That was fine. And then it was literally the exact same map in World War II. And that was fine as well because it's the same classic Shipment. I love playing on that one. So if it's classic Shipment, great. But if it's anything else, and if it's something like Modern Warfare 2019's, then I don't know about that. And then we have Quarry. So going back to Shipment for a second, I'm sure Shipment's going to be a fan favorite, so I'm sure that they're going to do what they did in Modern Warfare 2019, and they're currently doing Vanguard, where they have, you know, rotating playlists where they have Shipment and whatever, you know, some other small map, and they rotate that around, and that's kind of their like close quarters combat, like chaos, like game mode rotation thing. But next up, he talks about weapons. Let's talk about this. Assault rifles. We have the MK47, a DT MDR, a Beretta ARX 160, an AK. There's apparently multiple variants of it, so like an AK-47 or maybe an AK-12, stuff like that. For SMGs, we have an MP5K, MP9, MP7, UMP, and a VZ61. Dude, just hearing that. An MP9, dude, instant flashbacks to MW3. MP7, instant flashbacks to Modern Warfare 3, as well as a little bit of Black Ops 2, but I think it was better in Modern Warfare 3. And the UMP, oh, dude, flashbacks to Modern Warfare 2. Woo, that looks so good. I can't wait to use those. Those are just some of my favorite SMGs of all time. I love those, you know, just crazy. Next up, marksman rifles. We have a Kel-Tec RFB, an M110 or M110, an SASS. And for shotguns, we have a Spaz 12, Savage M24. Cool, Spaz 12. I mean, it's a great shotgun. We've had it in a number of games. Pretty good. For pistols, we have an AMT Hardballer, a Beretta, so a burst pistol, and a CZ-P09. That's probably, my guess, is like a fully automatic pistol. Snipers, we have the BFG 50. You know, I'll let you guys determine what that stands for. We have a CHATAC Intervention. Dude, if we have the intervention for Modern Warfare 2 return, I am going to be so freaking happy, dude. So, next up is we have a lever action, which is the Winchester 92. Sounds pretty sick. We have also for lever actions, so apparently it's a whole new category besides marksman rifles or lever actions. We have a Browning BLR, and a Savage M99. Launchers, all we know so far is that there's an RPG-7 in it. Okay, you know, it's kind of cool to have multiple launchers, but I guess it'll do. For knives, we have a karambit, a butterfly knife, and of course a standard combat knife. Pretty cool. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if all these weapons are in the game right off the bat or what. He says, Infinity Ward seem to be redoubling their efforts behind the Gunsmith, featuring a myriad of different calibers. We have .300 AAC Blackout, 458, 45 APC, 762, 350 Legend, 450 Bushmaster, as well as a great many of different grips, magazines, stocks, muzzle devices, and handguards. You know, I actually really do enjoy that in some of the previous Call of Duty games, how they've had a lot more attachment variety. It didn't really make sense in, say, like Vanguard, like having like 600 attachments in Vanguard, because, you know, it's a World War II game, but, you know, in like Modern Warfare, it is kind of cool having tons of attachments, so you can really change up how a weapon is played. You know, even if the weapon is kind of a dookie weapon, and you know, it doesn't have great damage or whatever, that, you know, just standard weapon is not great, you can actually change a lot of that stuff around just by changing up your attachments. So I mean, it's really cool, you know, seeing the community be like, yo, you need to try out this new gun. You know, it's kind of like a mediocre gun, but you slap these attachments on there and it turns into just like an absolute laser, and it's like the new meta or whatever. He says, Weapon Inspector in multiplayer matches, you'll be able to customize your weapons, gunsmith, view stats, etc. That's pretty cool. Similar to Battlefield 2042's live customization option, however, the UI seems considerably more comprehensive. There is a Rusty camo, which is a progressive. Dependent on overall kills you get, your weapon becomes visibly worn per 1,000 kills for equip. Wow. Okay. He says concept art for Modern Warfare 2 is comparable with these 4 images. So these are all stuff that I'm pretty sure is concept art from, you know, Modern Warfare 2019. But I think the most interesting one is the 4th one here of, you know, what looks like, you know, essentially a favela, you know, something like, say, Brazil or South America. And I really like the color on it, though, too. It looks pretty cool. It says, as for Warzone, he calls it Warzone 2022, but as we know, Warzone 2 won't be coming out this year. I mean, like, unless Infinity Ward does, like, some huge surprise, it's almost guaranteed Warzone 2 is not coming out until next year. He says, for Warzone 2, we're just going to call it Warzone 2, there is going to be a prop hunt limited time mode. How is prop hunt going to work in Warzone with a map that big? I mean, you just like take off in the map and then you go hide in a bush and you instantly win prop hunt. So unless it's like, you know, 150 people and like, I don't know, dude, that would still be crazy though. I don't even know how you can do that on a map that size. I feel like you'd need like hundreds of people to do that. That'd just be insane. He says there's a new level of verticality. There's a ladder field upgrade. What? That's crazy. He says the map is to be made up of a blend of Modern Warfare 2 maps and new point of interest such as a desert theme map. So when he says Modern Warfare 2 maps, he means the classic Modern Warfare 2 game from 2009. So probably maps like High Rise, Favela, Estates, Downturn, you know, stuff like that. Classic MW2 maps, which would be so sick. And I can't wait to see that, because I mean, technically, Scrapyard was a Modern Warfare 2 map, and we had that in the original Warzone as a, you know, like a point of interest and a part of the original Warzone map. So it'd be kind of cool to see. Personally, I mean, that's what I liked about Blackout. Blackout was made up of almost exclusively like old Black Ops multiplayer maps, and I really enjoyed that. You know, seeing these old maps come back, but also having like a new take on them. Because, you know, we had stuff like a Raid. We had, what was that? I swear it was called Estates or something. I can't remember. It was up towards like the top of the map. It was a Black Ops 3 map, snow map. Pretty cool. You know, we had tons of maps. Nuketown Island. You had a Raid. You even had like zombies maps in it too. So, I mean, that's what I really liked about Blackout. So hopefully that Warzone 2 will be able to integrate that as well. And another thing I really liked about Blackout as well is how the map progressed over time. And, I mean, Warzone did as well, you know, it kind of progressed, but what I mean is, like, Blackout really changed up the map quite a bit over time. They added huge new areas. They had a season where the entire map was flooded. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing I'd love to see in Warzone 2, is, like, really huge map changes from season to season. He says there's a MW2 helicopter. There's perks for purchase at buy stations. There is a Warzone ranked mode, as well as destructible environments. What? Dude, that's nuts. I don't know how destructible environments work in Warzone. But ranked mode, ooh, that's going to be huge. I mean, especially because the way that you have to do tournaments in Warzone is you just have to play against randoms. So I mean, ranked mode would be so sick, actually being able to play Warzone and knowing exactly what your rank is. Because, I mean, yeah, there's leaderboards and stuff, and currently, the way to tell, like, who's the best at Warzone is basically who has the most wins. But at the same time, it's like, well, wins aren't necessarily everything. It just basically means you have a lot of time on your hands, not necessarily you're the best player. So, hopefully with this ranked mode, it'll actually be pretty cool, and you'll be able to see, based on kind of like an XP and an ELO system, who is, the best at Warzone or whatever. It'd be kind of cool. Next up, he talks about AI. He says the AI is smarter, more receptive, and has a flexible AI system. The AI now has advanced awareness, and it will react realistically to bullet wounds depending on where they've been shot. Their body will recoil back authentically. So if they were hit in the shoulder, they'll shout and grab for the wound. If shot in the head, they'll drop like a sack of rocks. If shot in the leg, they'll limp for cover. If out of ammo, they'll charge you, butting you with their gun or pulling for a knife. Enemies also call out the names of their teammates in combat. That's actually so sick, dude. Huge level of realism there. I mean, it's just cool details like that that really, I feel like, made Modern Warfare 2019 really great. And I'm excited to see what they do with this game, really make it feel next gen. He says, for skill-based matchmaking, with the maintenance of skill-based matchmaking code, there appears to be plans to introduce bot pools, which is PvPvE, so player versus environment, on the condition that player stats are eligible to enter these lobbies. So probably just like how, saying like Black Ops 1 and 2, there was like bot modes where, if you were like under, I want to say it was like level 25, you could enter into these bot playlists and play those. And I'm pretty sure you could also rank up in those, but as soon as you pass that level, you would never be able to play in that playlist ever again. It's just a good way for new players to be able to get into the game and to be able to rank up and kind of learn it without getting just immediately put into a multiplayer match and just smashed. He says, with the overhaul in AI, they'll be able to track and equal a player's level of skill throughout a match, countering smurfs. What? That's crazy, dude. So essentially, if they're like, hey, we're going to put some bots in the game, we're actually going to make him crazy, so, you're not going to be able to just duke in on the bots, because, say Halo Infinite, if a teammate quits in that, you get a bot put in, the bots are pretty much useless. Halo Infinite, like 343, they upped the difficulty of the bots, made the bots smarter, but they still don't do a whole lot. Like, a bot is not going to help out your team if you're down a player. I'd rather have a player, although sometimes I have terrible teammates and I'd rather have bots, but yeah, so if they can, like, adjust it to be the level of an actual player. Imagine that, you get absolutely dookied on by a bot in a multiplayer match, and he like comes over and starts teabagging you or something like that. It'd be freaking hilarious. But then he says, box art color scheme. He shared this image of what the box art is supposed to look like, although this is probably subject to change because we now have the logo for it. We know the logo is going to be green. But then lastly here he says, postscript, information corroborated here is liable for future change. So there we go, guys. That is the newest information we have about Modern Warfare 2 campaign, multiplayer, Warzone 2, skill-based matchmaking, tons of stuff here. Just absolutely crazy. I'm really looking forward to this game. It sounds really fantastic. And, we posted a video the other day on the channel, and it sounds like the earliest we're going to be able to actually get our hands on the game will be with the alpha, and that'll be starting in August. So if you guys haven't seen that video, make sure you guys go and check that out. We also talked about when the actual game is going to be revealed, the exact date. So make sure you guys go and check that video out, that you guys don't miss out, and that you guys know exactly when that'll happen. But that's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this leak video. We got still tons more coming up on the channel, as well as I'm sure we're going to be getting a bunch of official teasers and stuff leading up to the actual reveal here in the beginning of June. So that's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.